As Raw is about to enter its traditionally toughest time of the year, going against heavier sports competition in the fall TV season, in a period that last year saw SmackDown significantly pulling away as the most watched show of the week by an average of around a million viewers margin. Last Thursday, SmackDown in its second ever live broadcast with the second straight week of its Thursday tapings that was originally set to be the start of the permanent schedule change. The show, which featured a loaded card with every top name working in promoted matches including Rock and the APA against Booker T and Rhyno in a six-man tag match and Austin vs Jericho for the WWF title, saw it jumping to a 4.3 rating with over 7.2 million viewers, one of the most watched SmackDowns of the year and its second most watched episode since WrestleMania, only behind the 7.7 million viewers for Rock's return show on August 2nd. With the follow-up seeing Shane McMahon opening Raw to call out Rock while hyping the advertised Rock vs Rhyno WCW title match set for later tonight, bringing out Rock for the response on Shane questioning him caring about the history of the WCW title, with Rock bringing up former WCW and NWA champions Gotch Lou Thesz, Steamboat and finally Ric Flair, while doing the Flair strut to a big reaction from the crowd in the most prominent mention of Flair on WWF television in years to lead to talks on Flair signing with the company in the near future, followed by Rock running down the recent holders of the WCW title, including a reference to David Arquette promising to restore the credibility of the belt during his title reign, setting up Rhyno spearing Rock, with Rock selling it huge in one of the most memorable gores in history in the build to their title match coming up in the next hour. After announcing the two top matches for tonight at the top of the broadcast with Rock vs Rhyno and Austin with a mystery partner against Angle and Jericho, Austin started a show-long angle to get out of facing Angle and Jericho in the match, claiming to have an arm injury suffered last Thursday, with Rob Van Dam and Raven, who were set for a match against each other, volunteering to take his place in the match, followed by Undertaker vs Albert taking place in Raw's second quarter, picking up over 400,000 viewers to a 4.5 rating, before jumping a further 700,000 viewers into the 5 rating range for the continuation of the Austin injury angle, with Kurt taking out Raven backstage, along with Matt Hardy vs Hurricane Helmes for the European title, with Helmes going over to win the belt. With business picking up big in the last 2 months, the WWF was forced to go back to the post-WrestleMania slide during the week, with the business report covering the May through July 2001 quarter, reporting a 21% decline in profits compared to May to July 2000, in a period that the company was still booming hotter than ever on a level that was going to be difficult to maintain either way, with Linda McMahon noting that the last quarter was challenging and they expected the results due to lower TV ratings and increases in operating expenses, with the biggest decline over last year coming in arena attendance dropping 32% from 611,000 tickets sold to 415,000. But things are trending upwards, with Raw and SmackDown ratings increasing 17% and 13% in the past month, while pay-per-views were up year-on-year from around 1.3 million to over 1.4 million buys on the back of the huge number of around 700,000 buys for the Invasion pay-per-view, with the WWF also predicting the recent dispute over a new deal with one of its biggest pay-per-view providers in DirecTV to cost the company between $1 to $1.5 million monthly due to lost buys from its system, with both the WWF and DirecTV hoping to reach a new deal in time for the upcoming Unforgiven pay-per-view, or face an almost guaranteed drop in pay-per-view buys due to approximately 15% of total WWF pay-per-view orders reportedly coming from the DirecTV system. The first ever televised Rock vs Rhyno match after they already faced each other in a house show main event 3 weeks earlier due to a Booker leg injury, was placed to start at 10 p.m. with the company replaying the spectacular gore on Rock throughout the hour in the build-up to the match, seeing it starting fast with Rhyno spearing Rock again outside the ring a minute in to lead to Rock selling the Impact throughout the match, going 8 minutes for the WCW title with the match jumping over 800,000 viewers to the peak of the night 5.3 rating, continuing Rock's show-high number streak since coming back with the Rock vs. Rhyno match, ending up the most watched segment of the Raw broadcast by an over 500,000 viewers margin from any other segment on the night, setting up Shane's interference for the finish to bring out the APA to take him out, with Rock going over to retain the title. After talks of it perhaps being a separate WCW show going months back before the Invasion angle started, the new WWF Access show debuted 2 days ago on the 10 p.m. Saturday night time slot on TNN, with the company hyping the debut episode big as Triple H's first televised appearance since the leg injury in May, seeing the show combining the formats of the former 2 morning shows hosted by Coach and Trish in the WWF headquarters, with Hunter for an hour in the studio answering questions about the recent storylines of the TV product while taking shoot phone calls from callers, with perhaps the most talked about question seeing a caller asking Hunter about the possibility of Nash signing with the WWF when his contract expires in January, with Hunter saying that he talks to Nash regularly as one of his closest friends in the business and he can see him and other top WCW names eventually signing with the company after sorting out their current contractual issues, with the show, which drew around the 1 rating range, mostly seeing a more restricted format similar to the early days of Live Wire in '96 to early '97, with the phone screeners reportedly telling callers to stick to questions about TV storylines as opposed to more inside shoot questions on behind-the-scenes issues, with Raw after peaking with the Rock vs. Rhyno match gradually dropping throughout the rest of the second hour, with a Booker vs. Big Show match just before the main event, seeing Booker taking out Show to continue to build his heat back on the way to the pay-per-view title rematch against Rock. In a rare situation, Raw's main event entrances took place almost 20 minutes to the top of the hour way earlier than usual, with Steve Austin after the show-long angle of him trying to bail out of wrestling the tag match, making his first appearance in front of the crowd at 10:50 p.m. to announce Tazz as his replacement in the match, with the Angle and Jericho vs. Van Dam and Tazz main event going 12 minutes, with the show ending earlier than usual, only going 4 minutes into the overrun, with the match not seeing the usual main event spike, jumping around 300,000 viewers in total, with a 4.7 final quarter before climbing to a 5 rating for the finish at around the show's average, as Raw, after staying above the 5 rating range for the past 6 weeks, dropping for the first time since before the Invasion and Rock's return, spike starting in late June to a 4.8 rating, with things about to get tougher to maintain in the next several months with the start of football season on Monday nights, with the match building up to a Kurt Angle hot tag entering the match seconds after 11 p.m. to see him taking out Tazz and Van Dam while fighting off Austin's interference to go over, ending up with Austin laying out Angle and taking his medals to close the show to add a new angle to the build-up for their pay-per-view title rematch at Unforgiven in 3 weeks.